For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Thank you so much for tuning in today. One of the things that I love about doing this show, and actually I really enjoy, I loved doing our syndicated radio shows as well back in the day, because, we were on 20-something, well, I guess at the height of, about 20-something stations at one time. And you had people tuned in from, all over the world, right? I would get messages from, there was this woman, Kathleen, who was devastated by Hurricane Katrina. There was Susan in Arizona, who would tweet with me during Bachelor and Bachelorette. Of course, that's also how I met my husband. He was emailing into our radio show, and then we just had these exchanges about what we were talking about on the air, and then it just turned into more and more and more. So it's interesting to hear from people of different, backgrounds, demographics, cultures, generations, what have you, because sometimes I don't even realize how things are different. Now, on the show the other week, I talked about how people are having relationships with others that they haven't necessarily met, or it's even with an AI program or app or whatever it is. And so one of the questions that I was actually asking my team that I said, so when you have one of those, like an AI boyfriend or girlfriend, is it texting? So are you just writing back and forth, and then the AI is, do you say the AI? I don't even know what you're supposed to say. It's whatever. So is the app, is it a texting thing, or are you doing a video call and it's showing you an AI, video of a person as though you're actually having a video call? So we didn't know, and people were saying it's mostly texting. And then what can happen is you pick a character, and then you can send selfies or whatever back and forth. So basically, you can ask the AI boyfriend or girlfriend for revealing pictures, or basically just like, hey honey, where are you right now, or what are you doing? Oh, I'm at a coffee shop. Hey, send me a picture from the coffee shop. So to me, that actually, it's actually kind of fascinating. Now for me, I also enjoy having a tanned, muscular bodybuilder Brazilian husband, so I prefer that kind of physical interaction. But I guess when I hear more about it, I kind of think that is sort of interesting, but at the same time, I also remember, though, if you are having these deep conversations with it, I mean, if you're telling your life story, if you're just needing somebody to talk to, it's potentially, recording it and remembering it, and that information is going somewhere, right? It's not just disappearing. So there's that too, right? Like if you're doing a video thing with it, or you're sending pictures to, I mean, it's like, think about, you don't even know where your pictures are ending up, right? Like you're just sending something. This thing has nothing to lose, right? This isn't even a real person, so it's just creating some kind of an image for you. So what we did, I didn't wrap it up yet? Oh, this is just the intro. We're going on 3.5 minutes on the intro. All right, well, that's what we're talking about on the show, and it starts right after this.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on the Scribble. All right, so let's talk about having AI boyfriends or girlfriends, okay? So after I had that discussion on the show the other week about people dating an AI cartoon, it led to discussion because I heard from a bunch of you. And so we ended up getting the names of a couple of these different apps, I guess they are. And so I'm kind of leery on any sort of an AI app on my phone. Maybe I'm old school, call me an old grandpa or whatever. I don't know. I'm kind of like, I don't want to, because you end up having to accept all of these, access to this and this and this and this and this. So we had a staffer download one of these apps onto their phone. And you basically, pick, if you wanted to look like a real man. Most of our staff is women, and I'm a homo, so we ended up picking a man. And you can make it so that it's a realistic man, or you can have it to be like a cartoon, what is it called? Say it again? Anime. You could basically be, and so my first question right there was, sorry, so people are attracted to cartoons. It's really interesting because, you can see, for me, when I see an AI image of, a muscular man or a really busty woman, like there's just, to me, I can spot it. And I'm not even, a graphic designer. I'm not even somebody who's big into imagery and photography. I just can look at it and go, it's not real. It's not even a matter of going and looking in closer and going, wait a second, he's got 9 fingers on one hand. Or, there was one I saw the other day that it was this guy wearing like flannel pants by the fireplace. And it's fascinating because you scroll the comment, there's hundreds of comments, and it's just people going gaga over it. And I'm looking going, first of all, those arms aren't real. Nobody has veins that are like protruding more than like train tracks. And the dude is wearing a watch on both wrists. Like so again, even just looking at the picture, you're kind of like, no. But the fact that people were attracted to this and believing this was real, there's a part of me that laughs because again, this is sad that first of all, you're falling for this. And then 2, easily to get swindled. If this is somebody who's got a fake page, I think it ended up being, I can't remember if it was like a dating Facebook page or something, and why it comes up for me, I don't know. I've never used social media for dating. I've never had a dating profile in my life. I've just never done that. So why I'm getting those matches or those pages showing on my Facebook, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, so the fact that you just kind of look at this and go, wow, people are getting turned on by something that is noticeably a cartoon. So we have this app, and you can pick the name, and you pick what he looks like and his eye color and hair color. And then you can we didn't buy a membership. So we ended up just doing, I think we kind of got like the trial run where we were able to text message 3 or 4 times. And it was one of those things of like, oh, well, show me what you're doing right now. And then the AI cartoon ends up, oh, hey, I hope you're having a great day, whatever. So there is something that's charming about it. I kind of get it. But again, at the end of the day, I prefer to come home, get the nice, hug, the nice tight hug, sitting on the couch and the hand on my leg or walking down, down the street holding hands, whatever. I mean, there's something about that you just can't really, I don't know. So it led to us having a discussion about maybe people haven't been in a relationship before. because I had this situation being a gay guy back in the day. I had never had sex with somebody, and so people would, well, how do you know if you're this or you're that if you've never done this or that? And I just said, well, I have no interest in doing certain things. So to me, that's, I don't have to smoke a cigarette to know that I don't like cigarettes. Right? I mean, like, you don't have to do something to know that you just don't like it. I understand when you're a kid and it's like, oh, I don't like that food, but you've never tried it. I mean, we're talking about, something, obviously sex is different than food, although they can coincide, I guess. But I said coincide, by the way, not go inside. I heard them laughing. No, I said coincide, not go inside. So I can understand if you've never been in a physical relationship with somebody and you've grown up on this whole dating app generation. So we're talking to people in their teens and 20s now, right? But again, my understanding was always that kids were moving along, if you know what I mean, much sooner than when I was growing up. I did not... in junior high, so I was in... Now, Canadians say grade 9. Americans, you will say 9th grade. I was in grade 9, and there was only one person who had had sex, and it kind of became this sort of scandalous thing. Her name was Arlene, and she had sex. And grade 9, she was the only one. Now, apparently, it's happening in, grade 7 or 8 or 6, or there's hand jobs, or there's, whatever, and I'm just shocked by that. To me, that's, kind of crazy. So when you have something like that, that's where I don't get, they're moving so fast sexually, even though we've heard that younger people aren't having as much sex as previous generations. So that's also something that confuses me. So I don't know, maybe they tried and they just don't like it. Well, then they're not doing it right. And that was part of the whole fun of it, is that you experiment and you just try different things. But anyway, so it's kind of weird that the sexual starts earlier. But then when it comes to actual substantial relationships, so that would be your emotional connections, your, romance and things like that, for some reason it's not happening. And people are resorting to an app for it. And I mean, again, I can understand if you're lonely and you don't have anybody to talk to, you don't have friends that you can just, pick up the phone and call. Like, I'm not one of those people who will sit and text with you all night. It's like, I'll just call, and I think that's probably what a lot of people don't like about me is I'm not going to, hey, are you around, or are you there? Are you busy? Can we call? I'll just fucking call. That's the kind of person that I am. I'm a talker, so I'm not going to spend the next... And that was something that really drove me insane back when I was single, and I was, so in my mid-20s or early to mid-20s, texting was just kind of becoming a thing. I would always say that, especially, like, gay.com was kind of our chat room to sort of meet people, and you really didn't... you would end up meeting up at the bar. That's kind of where it was. We didn't have... I lived with my parents at the time, so I wasn't having people over. I wasn't having a stranger over. But you would then, I'll be at the bar tonight or whatever. Oh, okay, well, I'll see you there. And then you happen to meet up with the person, and that's that. But I had no interest in dragging it out. Like, I would go, okay, like, what's your number? Let's talk on the phone. Well, I don't like the phone, whatever. Well, fuck it then, because I'm a talker. I have no interest in sitting and reading a screen or waiting 10 minutes for a reply. That's not my thing. I'm very impatient like that. I am not doing that. So a guy would get, we would clash, right? Because I'm insistent on, let's just have a conversation. Like, it's faster to get to know each other and talk. I don't want to have how was your day? Like a 6-hour drawn out kind of a thing, just to find out how your day was. That's just not... I'm not sitting and waiting by that. I'm not clutching the phone. There was a time when I did that. It drove me insane. It messed with my mind. And that's when I put my foot down and said, no. I'm not waiting around for a man. I'm definitely not. And that's also why I think that if I were single in today's world, the dating app thing just wouldn't work for me, because I would... Like, okay, let's say that I'm messaging, 5 or 6 different people. I'm the type of guy where it's like, I'm going to cut off I don't want to do it bachelor style where it's like, I'm going to go out with this person on Monday, this person on Tuesday, this person on Wednesday, and then I'm going to narrow it down, and then I'll cut this one loose. Like, I feel that humans are different. Like, I'm not just tossing you away, because I know that you're investing time and emotions and whatever into this. So I wouldn't do the dating app thing. And I would be insistent on knowing, like, Are you communicating with others? Like, what's going on? Because I'm not fighting for you. I'm not competing for your attention. You're gonna, get serious on getting to know me. If it doesn't work, great. Then get the app again and then, start your search. But I've never liked that. And the other question that I always hated when I was single was, what are you looking for? Like it's a search, like it's on a mission, it's a quest to achieve something, accomplish something. And I was always kind of like, I don't know, wherever it goes. I mean, it could be a good friendship. It could be, I've always gone along well with older people. I think I'm the youngest on our staff, and I'm, turning 44. But one of my best friends when I was in my early to mid 20s was a guy who was close to 40, and he was in a committed relationship for about 10 or 12 years. I think I talked about it maybe a month or so ago, and the relationship ended. But I don't know. He was more mature. He wasn't one of those young club kids. Like, he was settled down. They had a house together. They had cats. We'd go to the casino. We would drive around. We would just go for walks. It was great. It was nothing. There was no sexual tension. It was just a good friendship. And so, that's okay too, right? Like I said, I was desperately single at that time. So it could have been like, oh my God, maybe I'll end up with him. No, I didn't even see him like that at all. We had never seen each other naked. We'd never, it wasn't, I think people just assume that, gay men are all just going to be climbing on each other. That's also not the case either. But, I'm a talker, so I'm not going to sit and message back and forth, and I'm not going to go on a dating app and, divide my attention between 7 people, because at that point too, you also just don't remember which conversations you've had with people. And that's where I would insist on having an actual conversation or a meeting right away. Like, let's just meet, like, let's just get together, not for sex, but I'm saying we'll go for a walk, and I'm not doing the coffee thing where we're sitting across from each other and interviewing each other. That's not happening. That's of no interest to me. But we can go, we can walk my dogs. And again, I'm talking like I'm single right now. I'm just saying, if I were in that situation, I would say, no, let's walk the dog. We'll go for a walk with my dogs, and you'll meet us at the park. You're not coming to my house. I don't want you to know where I live. And we'd walk through the park, because it's not that very sit down, face-to-face interview like we're on 60 Minutes sitting across from each other, and it's this big, so what kind of music do you like? What kind of food do you like? Do you like to travel? I don't know. That's not fun for me. I wouldn't enjoy that. So, So now we're going to take a break. But when we come back, one of the things that I also heard from people is that the reason that dating apps and relationships just kind of don't work nowadays is that people don't know how to flirt. And so I've heard a bunch of stories, and I'm going to share some with you when we come back right after this.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
JB here on the Scribble. All right, so are you a flirt? And I can ask that of single people, and I can ask that of married people, because I got to tell you, yes, I'm married, but I love flirting with straight married men. And Bonnie Winters, she's been married to her husband Mike for 50 years. Again, they're not spring chickens. Mike is in his 70s. I flirt with him every time I see him. Suzanne, the first time Suzanne came to our Christmas party, her husband Jay, I had seen him on a video call, but I had not met him in person. She started with us in October of that year, so it was kind of, it made sense that I hadn't met, her entire family. And then I ended up meeting their kids and everything. And so when he showed up, it was very flirty. And same thing with my. Anyway, so I love flirting with straight men, and it's obviously joking and playful, and it's in front of their wives too. So it's not like this is just something where I'm cornering him in a kitchen at a party and going, okay, she's gone. It's very harmless. So, I just thought of is that there was one situation that wasn't entirely harmless. I'm going to share it then, because it just. See, you'll be if you've been listening to this show for any length of time, you'll know that I'll be saying something, and if I do a second and a half, 2-second pause, it's because something has just registered in my mind, and it's made me think of something. And so when I just said about, it's always innocent, I'm not going... Okay, so I have a relative, and she was in a relationship, and it didn't work out. And he's the baby. My cousin's the female, so the baby daddy. It didn't work out, but obviously he was still around because of their kid, right? And so he still would come to, like my aunt or uncle's birthday or things like that. It was just because their relationship didn't work. I mean, he was a really nice guy. We all liked him. Nobody had complaints, and he would still come to like my grandparents', anniversaries and things like that, for like the milestone things. So we had this, again, very sort of a flirty thing. Now, this is also, by the way, this is before the days of my husband. So it's, we're probably talking 10, 15 years ago. So, for some reason, we had swapped phone numbers. I don't even know why. But I mean, it's no, whatever. You have your cousin's phone number. You have, a partner's phone number or whatever. So, we ended up just would for some reason text. I don't even know. Maybe he texted me like happy birthday, and that kind of broke the ice. And so now, all right, whatever. I've got him in my phone and whatever. So then I would see him at a family get together, and it would just again be jokingly flirty and what have you. And so I can't remember. It did cross the line in terms of me either making a comment or him making a comment, and he would flirt back with me. And then I can't remember. I made a joke about it, and all of a sudden I get. And this is back when your camera phone videos were kind of choppy and grainy or whatever. All of a sudden I get like a 10-second, because it was, again, your phone technology was different back then. Like a 10-second video of him, from the chest down of him like jerking off. So it doesn't show who he is or whatever, but I was just like, this is interesting. This is interesting. So this is the ex, relative's ex, who I jokingly flirt with, and now I've seen in a way that I never would have thought that I would see before. I mean, I just kind of, it was still very joking. So it didn't make me go like, oh my God, well, he didn't have a body that was attractive to me anyway. So I was kind of like, oh, he's actually sort of like, fatter and kind of, Have you ever had that too? Have you ever had that? Let me ask you, people on dating apps and things like that, where I'm not saying that you got catfished, but you were kind of like, okay, underneath the clothes did not match what I saw in person. So I'm not saying that they used fake photos. What I'm saying is, hey, he looks built. Oh, he looks, and then all of a sudden the shirt comes off and you're like, oh, he's just solid. And I want to hear from the gays on this one. Send me an email, live at jbonair.com, live at jbonair.com. So anyway, all right, so let's go to the flirting thing, because one of the things that I heard about was people don't know how to flirt. And so there was, I was having these emails back and forth with a woman who said that she was out with a group of friends, and one of them was kind of making eyes at a guy from across the lounge or whatever, like a sports bar or restaurant, whatever. It was in a casual setting. We're not talking at like a fine dining restaurant. So it was, kind of. And so rather than just go up, right? Or, make eyes and, maybe he'll come over or she'll go over, whatever. She ended up going on to one of the dating apps because it shows you people that are close by, and she's looking to see if he's on there. That was her way of either, one, finding out if he's single, and then possibly finding out any sort of information. And if he was on there, her plan was to, message him or whatever through the app. So you are 10 feet from somebody. You're literally in the same room. You are, well, almost literally face to face. I mean, if you're making eye contact from across the room, that's fucking face to face, if you ask me. And you're going to go to your phone. You're going to use the technology. You're going to use the app. That doesn't make sense to me. Because back in the day, let's go back to the bar when I was, 18, 19. It was the whole cliche thing of, hey, how's it going? Yeah, you having a good time? Oh, yeah, hey, what are you drinking? I'll get you, vodka and orange? All right, you want another? I'll get you one. That was how you started to flirt. You didn't and yeah, I mean, those cheesy pickup lines, I mean, that was always just sort of a cliche thing. I don't really know that people use those kinds of things. But I'm just saying that people were that doesn't seem like it's a very daring and controversial or like scary thing to do. But the fact is that fast forward to today's, everybody's so reliant on hiding behind a screen. I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, sorry, if that's scary to you, then you don't deserve to have a relationship. Sorry. I mean, if you're that timid, if you are that shy and scared and whatever, stay single the rest of your life. Sorry. That's just, I'd never heard of something like that before. That's a new one for me. So for me, let's go back to that straight flirting thing. When I worked at Red Lobster when I was 16 and 17, I was there for about almost 2 years. There was a guy there who, okay, so let me set this up. My high school was in the neighborhood of our Red Lobster restaurant. And so a bunch of the people from my school ended up working at Red Lobster. So it was full of teenagers, in the kitchen or what have you. So I would see, there was a guy on the hockey team. Remember, I grew up in Canada. So there was a guy on the hockey team named Anthony. I had mad crush on him. He was just, and the hockey team at our school, especially in Canada, they had like framed pictures on the wall because, that's what the hockey team was. And he had kind of the longer hair. And there was just something that he had kind of like the dopey voice. And I just thought, wow, there's something that's really charming about that. And of course, as a gay guy, you're kind of like, I wonder, I hope. Maybe he's not into girls. Maybe he'll like a boy. Maybe. And then you also have that thought of maybe he just needs to try a boy and he'll like it. Again, you always just think that you have, it's one of those things about how do you know unless you've tried it, right? So Anthony, wouldn't you know it, works at Red Lobster. And he was, so he started out it was called the alley. Let me set this up for you. So in Red Lobster, the alley was kind of the middle of the kitchen. I wasn't cooking the food, or the job that I ended up getting the same job as him. So we weren't cooks. We weren't preparing the food, and we weren't serving it. We weren't taking it out. We were in that middle area where it was called the alley, where you would basically dress the plates. You would check the temperature of the food. You would be that final set of eyes before it goes out to the dining room, before you get the servers to take it out. And so Anthony worked in the alley. And then he moved to be a server. So my first couple of weeks there, I was just like, oh my God, I'm working side by side with this guy. I mean, what are the odds? Great odds, really. And so I loved it because if I, worked a weekend or something and here I am with this guy and, you try to get your flirt on, right? And it's just, it could go either he could just be like, look, fuck off, not into guys, or he can laugh it off. Or he can report me to HR or something, I guess. But, I mean, I wasn't grabbing his ass or doing anything like that. And you have to remember that back in the day, you could get away with things quite a bit. There was actually, somebody had brought in, one of the servers had brought in a Playgirl magazine, and it was sitting on the shelf in the back area of where, like, the employees would kind of sit around. And that was just kind of the thing. And, somebody just brought it in and I stole it, actually. It was quite funny. I kept going there to see. I was waiting for nobody to be in the employee area. And then once the coast was clear, I was just like, yoink. And, put it down my pants. And yeah. But anyway, so Anthony is working, sort of side by side in the alley with me. And on a weekend night, anyway, it's very busy. So you don't really get much time to talk. You're kind of just shouting things and doing the lingo of pushing out orders. So then he got it. He was upgraded. He was, promoted or whatever to being a server. So he wasn't in the alley anymore. And I was just like, oh, this is crushing. But again, I was the most obnoxious flirt. So what I would do is, he would throw things at the cooks, through the little metal windows and things like that or whatever. And so I would joke around, I'd put a lemon wedge down the back of his shirt. And I just thought, wow, now I look at it and go, I was really fucking annoying. I'm surprised he didn't just tell me off or, say to get, piss off. And then after he was serving, he ended up becoming a bartender. And so I was just kind of like, now there's something sexy about that too when he's a bartender now, right? He's not serving at Red Lobster. He's flipping up drinks and stuff. And so he had this, I still have it, believe it or not. He had this necklace that had beads and then I think it was almost like twine. It was back in the day. You have to remember we're going back to like the late 90s, not quite 2000s. And it was this, I would say that it's not hemp, but it was more, I don't know, it was just kind of a weird material. Anyway, so he would wear this necklace, and he had it, there was a picture of him in the high school yearbook, and he's wearing it. And there was something that I was just kind of like, oh my God, I mean, I want to either find one of those so we can have the same thing. I was that girl, by the way. And so one day, when I happened to be walking through the bar. You had to get to the kitchen. You had to kind of go through the bar of that Red Lobster anyway. And so it was hanging on. We had a bell because Red Lobster was very nautical, right? And so we had this bell, and the necklace was actually on the bell one night. He had taken it off for some reason or whatever. And so when the coast was clear, when there was nobody at the bar, I went and I stole the necklace. So now I've got Anthony's necklace. I swear to you, I still have it in my house. It's in my filing cabinet with my high school. I have all of my work, all of my assignments and everything from school, from elementary all the way through college. I have it in my filing cabinet by my yearbook and my grade. Well, I would have been in grade 11 and 12 when I worked at Red Lobster. So yeah. But anyway, so my point was, like, that was my flirt, my way of, like, being a pest to him and really annoying to him, and I'm thinking that was going to make me, now I look and go, oh my god, I can't believe he didn't, like, punch me in the face, get a restraining order or something, or, like, can you not put things down the back of my shirt? So he was a good sport about it. But I'm just saying is those are the things that you would do, right? Think about it even in elementary. If if a guy liked a boy liked a girl, they would, make fun of them or something. Like, that was just kind of the way. But I was never intimidated. I was never, I can't go and say hi. I'm not going to talk to, I can't. Because what's the point of that? You're not going to get anywhere. As they say, shoot your shot, right? I mean, that's just... So to hear nowadays that it's hidden behind this digital, this screen or an app or whatever it is, like, to me, that's really sad. I don't know. I mean, because it also limits you. Really, if that's your only reliance, you're basically assuming that every single person, whether in your neighborhood or your city or whatever it is, and I've never felt that way. I know that I was always open-minded when I was single. So I would chat with people. I would go, so on gay.com, again, was our chat room website that we would go to as homosexuals back in the day. And I would go to Vancouver, I would go to Toronto, I would go to the different cities, even though I didn't live there, and I would get brushed off by a lot of people, right? They obviously want somebody in their city or, somebody close by. But for me, I had always said the person could be anywhere. I'm not limited to just Winnipeg, where I lived. That's, does a long distance relationship work? And I always said, if it was the right person, I would move anywhere then. If I was certain that this was the right guy for me and we have a good connection. And ultimately, I mean, look at what ended up happening. A guy writes into our radio shows from Brazil and we strike up conversation. We have emails going back and forth. We eventually connect and do video calls and things like that. And, 10 years later, married 10 years in total. Here we are. So I don't think that, your soulmate or whatever you want to call them is necessarily right where you live. So if you're just depending on an app, I mean, I would think one of the cool things is if you're going on vacation or you're traveling somewhere and you just happen to, meet somebody and you strike up a conversation because you were on the beach or you were in a pub or you were somewhere. I mean, those are the more interesting stories anyway. I don't know. Anytime if I hear somebody like, oh, we met online, I'm just kind of like, ugh. Because what that tells me is you were looking for this. This was, again, you were on a mission. This was your whole purpose. Like, this was something that you almost got dedicated it to. And so for me, I was single when my husband wrote into the show, but it's not like I was thirsting over all of our audience. I mean, we had men and women, we had people from all over emailing, and I didn't even know what people looked like because I wasn't going and creeping them on social media going, oh, this is what Kathleen looks like. Oh, this is what, Susan looks like. Oh, this is what so-and-so looks like. I didn't fucking care. They were my audience. There was, they were just a name that would come up in the email box. So, I don't know. I just feel like a person could be anywhere. There's no sense in limiting it. And so we have this email exchange going back and forth for months when he's listening to the radio, and then look at where it goes. But I wasn't actively dating my listeners. I wasn't sizing them up. I wasn't going like, oh, so how old are you, sir? Oh, are you married? Are you single? Well, that's just not what you do with your audience. Maybe people do that. I wasn't doing it on the radio. And that was also the reason why I never had a dating profile or a dating app, was because to me, that would have been weird. Wait a second, you're the guy in the newspaper. Is that you on Match.com? Is Match.com still a thing? I don't even know. That's the only one I know. Match.com, and then, well, Grindr I know, but that's not really a dating app. But that's why I was never on one. Because that's the guy from the Winnipeg Free Press. Oh, that's the guy. That would be embarrassing. And that's, yeah. So tell me about flirting. Are you a flirt? Are you more of a courageous flirt when it's, texting? Are you more flirty, and then you just totally clam up and you're not a flirt in person? I don't know. I just felt I've always had that kind of a personality that I'll, laugh and giggle and say inappropriate things and, break the ice that way. But it seems like the younger generation just doesn't do that. They don't got the balls for it. They're scared of everything. They're only hurting themselves, and I'm talking, I'll talk directly to you, young people. Put down your fucking phone. Go and, live your life. Enjoy it for the moment. If you're taking a vacation, I don't want to see a picture of you clutching your phone on the beach. I don't even want to see you on the beach because you should be so focused on living in that moment, enjoying the nature, splashing in the water, making a sandcastle, relaxing and doing nothing. That's the funniest thing is I'll laugh at somebody that I see on, it'll be somebody taking a picture of them and you're clutching your phone as you're standing on the beach. It's sad. Anyway, send me an email live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. We are out of time, wouldn't you know it? And I will talk to you same time, same place next week. I want to hear about more of your flirting stories. And if you've had just kind of sort of nightmares, not nightmares, nightmare situations, nightmare experiences. And if you've given up on them, the dating apps, I want to hear about that. If you've been in an AI relationship with an app, we should subscribe to that one that we stopped after we ran out of the tokens or credits or whatever you call it. And so eventually we had 3 or 4 messages go back and forth, and then all of a sudden it pops up, to pick a membership plan or whatever. And I was just like, fuck it, I'm not that invested. I'm going to pay. I have humans in the room that I can talk to. I'm not going to, it's kind of weird. But anyway, live, live@jbonair.com. My name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up The Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter @The Scribble Show and @thescribbleshow.com. Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter @The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.